Welcome our newest 4-star Dendro Pokemon character, the adorable Yaoyao is here to provide relaxation and recovery to weary adventurers. Primarily off-field alongside her adorable bunny Yuagui, Yaoyao focuses on providing consistent healing to the team and Dendro application to the enemies. With a super simplistic playstyle and a cozy design, you can probably hear her in the background, Yaoyao is our first dedicated Dendro healer. YouTube Fronks, welcome to a full guide covering the most important aspects of Yaoyao's gameplay and design for practical use. We'll be covering her talents, optimal ways to use her kit, optimal weapons and artifacts, how her constellations affect her design, where she slots in for teams, and a gameplay showcase. Let's begin. From Constellation 0 to Constellation 6, Yaoyao's focus is keeping your active character and the whole team alive, while also providing relatively consistent Dendro application on enemies. As our first dedicated Dendro healer, her utility can be abused in any related Dendro team comp you can think of. This makes her practicality and general team value very, very high. The focus of her kit centers around her Elemental Skill and Elemental Burst White Jade Radishes. Her Elemental Skill summons her cute bunny Yuagui, which constantly throws out mini radish bombs which heal allies and deal Dendro damage to enemies within a small AoE. Her Elemental Burst enables a Super Saiyan Yaoyao state for 5 seconds, where her radish healing benefits the whole team and increases in strength quite dramatically. Her normal charge attack simply exists for the purpose of any weapon passives like Favonius to proc team utility. Let's dive into some details. Elemental Skill, one of Yaoyao's top talent priorities, responsible for off-field active character healing and Dendro application. She summons her bunny Yuagui, which lasts 10 seconds, and throws radishes once every second to either the active character, an enemy, or randomly. First, when the active character is below 70% HP, Yuagui throws at the active character. If there's more than one active character, for example co-op, it targets the lowest HP. If the active character is above 70% HP, Yuagui throws at a nearby enemy. And if you're above 70% HP and there's no nearby enemy, Yuagui throws it randomly. If the radish hits your character, it'll heal. If the radish hits the enemy, it'll deal damage and Dendro application once every 3 hits or 3 seconds per individual enemy. One particle is generated every 2 seconds or every other radish on an enemy hit. If the radish hits nothing, then it explodes after 5 seconds, or if in contact to something later, enemy or ally. Scalings. Damage is attack percent, which is basically ignored, and then healing is HP percent scaling, which is very good and prioritized. Because these radishes are small AoEs, even though her bunny prioritizes an action, they can still do both damage and heal if the AoE hits both your character and the enemy. You may also notice that the healing has an additional proc of healing that persists even after her bunny disappears. This is her Ascension 4 passive, which is an additional HP percent scaling healing that persists for 5 seconds after a radish heals your character. So overall, her Elemental Skill throws veggies at enemies and they puke, and throws veggies at you and you're happy. Elemental Burst, Yaoyao's other top priority talent investment, responsible for on-field, important, surge of AoE team healing and intense Dendro application for 5 seconds. When she activates her burst, she enters this Adepto Legacy state, which basically means she can summon 3 bunnies instead of just 1, and the healing and damage is stronger. Healing is intensely powerful during this duration, about 3 to 4 times stronger than normal, and the Dendro application is also 3 to 4 times faster than normal due to the sheer number of tasks following standard internal cooldown. This 4 times is possible due to Ascension 1 passive, turning Yaoyao herself into a radish throwing machine on top of her 3 other bunnies during burst. Overall, you can expect 4 to 6k HP healing per second during her burst for a total of 20 to 30k burst healing, and then Dendro application about once per second to each enemy affected by the radish blasts. Keep note though that she must stay on field for the full burst value. The extra bunnies will disappear if she swaps off field, but only use it when you need some emergency fat healing, or if you're running a different type of build that needs Yaoyao on field. With a cooldown of 20 seconds and an energy cost of 80, she is pretty energy hungry if burst reliant, anticipating at least 200% or higher for comfortable use. For Yaoyao's normal and charge attack, she's just trying her best with her polearm training. You won't be investing in this talent as it'll only be primarily used for Favonius Lance passive procs. So then, overall talent investment is Elemental Skill greater than or equal to Elemental Burst, with the normal charge attack being useless. Optimal combo rotation. So Yaoyao doesn't need any specific setups. She just throws her bunny out every 10 seconds or so, with an auto or 2 to activate Favonius if you're using it. Her burst can be used whenever you need a nuke of healing. Optimal weapons. So I'm going to be honest and cut the fluff. There's really only 3 weapons that you'd even consider running on her, and only one of them that really has the best use for her. 4-star Favonius Lance. This is the #1 general choice for Yaoyao, with an energy recharge secondary stat and a passive utility that is invaluable for both her high costs and general team needs. We also have 3-star Black Tassel, which is an HP stat stick for Yaoyao, Inferior to the Favonius Lance though, because it forces energy recharge main stat timepiece, but then you lack the passive from Favonius, so it's just worse than Favonius in general. And then the last weapon is actually a weapon category. Elemental mastery weapons like a Dragon's Bane, Keytane Cross Spear, and Moon Piercer. This is used for Bloom Yaoyao on a Nilou comp where her elemental mastery would matter. Dragon's Bane has the highest innate elemental mastery, so higher value in that specific case. In general though, 90% of you will be running Favonius Lance like you would any other generic support, so get ready to possibly level another one because she makes a good value out of it for Dendro teams. Now for artifacts and stat priority. As an HP % scaling healer with alternative Bloom related builds, Yaoyao does have some variety in options when it comes to builds. If she's supporting Dendro related DPS, like some spread hyper carry or a hyper Bloom comp, 4-piece Deepwood will be her best value piece. She'll be able to have 100% uptime with the 4-piece resistance shred with a little attention even if her bunny is primarily healing your team. You will need to be within melee explosion range for those radishes. If she's supporting electro related DPS, like some aggravate hyper carry, 4-piece Tenacity will be her best value piece, gaining both HP% and providing an attack % buff. 4-piece Noblesse is very similar, but would require you to burst on cooldown, which may be difficult to achieve. If she's part of Nilou's Bloom comp. As an off-field support, 4-piece Deepwood or 4-piece Instructor if you already have a Deepwood user. If you're an on-field reactor, 4-piece Gilded to maximize her own elemental mastery. And then the rare DPS Yaoyao could also run 4-piece Gilded for spread, 4-piece Emblem for burst damage, or 4-piece Deepwood for general damage. If you're not running a 4-piece set, a best 2-piece combo to combine would be 2-piece Tenacity with 2-piece Emblem for HP% and energy recharge. Otherwise, any generic combo with the aforementioned HP, energy recharge, 2-piece healing bonus, or 2-piece elemental mastery would do fine for supportive uses. I generally wouldn't recommend a 4-piece healing set like Maidens or Ocean Hued since her healing is substantial without it, and the team gains more value from more of the supportive 4-piece sets. Main stat choices. Yaoyao has a little bit more variety than you'd expect for main stats, depending on your use case. So a full tank build looks like so. HP over the energy recharge timepiece, HP goblet, and then HP over crit rate mask. Energy recharge timepiece if you're lacking in substats, or if you're running black tassel. Otherwise, HP timepiece gives her more bulk. Crit rate mask if you're running Favonius, but if you have enough substats of crit rate, then HP% mask. Then we have the full Elemental Mastery build. Elemental Mastery timepiece is greater than Energy Recharge, Elemental Mastery Goblet, and then Elemental Mastery Mask. You'd only use the Energy Recharge timepiece if you're looking to burst on cooldown if you're lacking substats. Then we get to the Hybrid Tank Elemental Mastery build. Elemental Mastery is higher value than HP, which is higher value than Energy Recharge. Then we have Elemental Mastery Goblet. Then we have Elemental Mastery Mask, which is higher value than Crit Rate Mask. So the reason why the Energy Recharge is the lowest value in the timepiece is because if you have enough substats of Energy Recharge, you can go more Elemental Mastery or HP on the timepiece. In this particular build, you would still focus HP substats, Energy Recharge substats, and then Crit Rate substats for the Favonius Lance Crit Rate requirement. You can basically do every single type of build without changing artifacts with this build. Then we have DPS Yaoyao, which is an attack timepiece, Dendro Goblet, and crit rate or crit damage mask. The reason why attack timepiece is because all of her damage multipliers are attack % based and not HP % based. Mine currently is a hybrid build. She's running Elemental Mastery, and Crit Rate Mask. This is with insane HP, Energy Recharge, and Elemental Mastery substats that you can see. This is so that I could be lazy and not swap between multiple builds when I'm running different teams. And even though that she's only 23,000 HP at level 80 with this build, she's still able to heal a healthy amount for the team. Constellations. So at Constellation 0, Yaoyao's core gameplay is pretty finalized. Unlike other 4-stars that have been released as of late, Yaoyao's design as a character does not change as she gains more constellations. While they are very useful and improve her quality of life, her gameplay utility remains unchanged, making her a very valuable character that you can immediately invest in from C0. Constellation 1. Active characters hit by a radish gain 15% Dendro damage bonus and restore 15 stamina once per 5 seconds. This is quite nice for spread compositions, for example if she's supporting Alhaitham. Constellation 2. Yaoyao effectively reduces her burst cost by 15 to 18 flat energy to 62 to 65 cost, reducing her energy requirement below 200%. Quite a nice general quality of life. In order to activate this, you just need to make sure that during her burst, that her White Jade Radish hits opponents. So if she's healing you, just be near the opponents. C3 and C5 is +3 levels. Constellation 4. After using her skill or elemental burst, she gains elemental mastery based on her max HP. 20,000 HP is 60 EM, up to 40,000 HP, which is 120, which is the cap. Now this is mostly for Nilou's Bloom team. It's not really for spread DPS Yaoyao, since this requires HP to convert, not attack. Constellation 6. Every third radish from elemental skill throws an additional big one. Multiplier value is increased to 75% over the usual 41% at level 6. Healing is increased to 7.5% of her max HP, which is about 3 times as strong because her normal is about 2.4%. The C6 main value is significantly higher consistent healing. You can say it's about almost double the healing because this is every third radish. So overall, her constellations reduce her energy requirements from C2, minor buff to teammates from C1, her self-EM buff at C4, and healing increase at C6. Team comps. With consistent 2 burst healing and Dendro application, as a support, she's invaluable to any Dendro-related comp.
In the name of the princessin.
Shut up. First up, spread. Yaoyao mainly serves as the second Dendro in a spread DPS comp, supporting a carry like I'll Hate Them, for example. Yaoyao plus 1 Electro, plus 1 Dendro carry, plus 1 flex. Most of the common flexes will be Zhongli or an Anemo to assist the Electro as a second aggravate DPS. Yaoyao will be holding Deepwood to enable the Dendro carry a more offensive 4-piece set. With consistent Favonius Lance procs, energy should be no problem for this team. Aggravate. Yaoyao can also serve as the solo Dendro healer to support an aggravate DPS-oriented comp. Yaoyao plus 2 Electro plus 1 Flex will usually be the layout. This enables the 2 Electro to be much more offensive and brings more value to an Anemo as a flex to increase both Electro's aggravate DPS. Yaoyao will need to be a higher range of 200 to 225% recharge to be comfortable rotating her burst in this comp, but this is completely optional as her burst acts just as an emergency heal. Nilou Bloom. So with Yaoyao's burst state granting 50% Dendro resistance, she becomes an excellent on-field tank for Nilou's Bloom comp while healing a crap ton and applying Dendro constantly. Yaoyao plus Nilou plus a second Dendro and a second Hydro. The second off-field Dendro like Nahida DMC Kale is recommended since Yaoyao's own Dendro application is not enough without her burst. Because Yaoyao's solo healing is actually enough during her burst state, second Hydro does not have to be Kokomi and is instead more successful with more Hydro application from Yelan or Xingqiu. An alternative choice for the second Hydro can be Candace, who can transform Yaoyao into a Hydro-infused menace. Definitely something I want to try out in a future video. Now, I wouldn't recommend Yaoyao be off-field for this Nilou Bloom comp, since she won't be able to burst heal and tank for the team while the blooms are going off, since she needs to be on-field for that. And this may force a second healer back on the team, reducing the overall team's element application, because most of the time you'll be running 2 Dendro and 2 Hydro, and we only have 1 Dendro dedicated healer here. Then we get to Hybrid Bloom or Burgeon. So Yaoyao can be the solo or duo Dendro in a Bloom-related team comp, providing comfortable healing from the sidelines or on-field with her bunnies throwing radishes everywhere. Yaoyao plus an off-field Hydro, plus an EM, Electro, or Pyro, and then a flex slot. The flex slot can be double Hydro, double Electro, or double Dendro depending on your use case. Hydro can be Xingqiu and or Yelan. The EM, Electro, or Pyro will usually be Raiden, Cookie, or Toma. The flex can be Beidou for double Electro, Nahida, I'll Hate Them DMC for double Dendro, both Xingqiu, Yelan for double Hydro, or Zhongli for the Jade Shield resist reduction. And that wraps up a guide on one of the most well-designed 4-stars, in my opinion, that we've had in a while. She effortlessly connects all the popular Dendro-related compositions, and does so with a combination of her Yuigui's consistency from elemental skill and also Super Saiyan mode from her burst. As she is free from the 4-star selection coming up in 3.4 and amazing at Constellation 0, there is no pressure to invest in Primo Gems to pull for her if you don't want to. Let me know what you think of her in the comments. I think it's time to let her rest for now. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.